Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time zone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Ogbanje Joseph. Please subscribe to this channel, like and share this video. Today, we're going to be talking about another theory called the game theory. The game theory. Now, what is game theory? Game theory is a micro theory that hinges on the rationality of human actions. Okay, now the founder of this game theory is a great mathematician called John von Neumann. Okay, in his in a work that he co-authored with Oscar Morgenstern. Now, the title of that work is The Theory of Gain and Economic Behavior. Now, the game theory emphasizes the rationality of human actions, okay, by extension, actions of states in the international system. Now, the game theory is defined as a formal study of decision making where several players, okay, must make choices that potentially that potentially affect the interests of others, of other players. Okay, so it is a game when the decisions that you make actually affect other players that are actually involved in the game. Okay, now what are the basic features or assumptions? What are the basic features of a game? What are the elements of a game? The elements of a game are: number one, you must have players. For example, if you have football, in a football pitch, you must have 12 players the other side, and then either 11 or 11. You understand? Depending on, so 11 players there, 11 players there. So those are the things. Now, those are the players. Okay, whether 11 or not, there must be players. That's number one. And these players are the decision makers. They are the ones who decide exactly what happened. Whatever decision you are taking is the same kind of decision they are taking. But all of them are actually, they have interests that they actually want to achieve or want to protect. They have something behind their mind that they want to achieve by that decision. That's number one. Number one is decision. Number two is strategy. Strategy. This strategy that we're talking about is available. You are creative. You have that creativity to actually make your own strategy that will outsmart or outdo your opponent. That's number two. Then number three, rules. There must be rules governing the behavior of players. Okay, there must be rules governing the behaviors of players. So there must be rules and regulations, and these rules and regulations cannot be changed in the middle of the game. So before the game starts, everybody must be given the rules and regulations. For example, if there is a political position, political office, okay, that has been declared vacant and there is need for election to be conducted. Now, there will be electoral laws. Now, these electoral laws are the rules that are governing the game or governing the players. Okay, then number three, outcomes. Each of which is a result of the particular choices made by the players. So, the outcome is the position that we're talking about. Okay, so that is actually number four. Then number five is payoffs. The payoffs, that this one occurred by each player as a result of each possible outcome. The payoff is actually the booty or the advantages that office brings, that political position will bring. Okay, so those are the things. Now, the game theory assumes that each player will pursue strategies that help him, okay, to achieve the most profitable outcome in every situation. Okay, so in real life situation, you understand, there are a lot of people intentionally or unintentionally pursue their own interest at the expense of others, leading to conflict or competition. But one thing you must know very quickly is that games used to illustrate these relationships often place the interest of two players in direct opposition. The the greater the benefit for one player, the loss for the other player. The greater the benefit for one player, okay, the loss for the other player. Okay, so in order to achieve a mutually productive outcome, okay, the players must coordinate, okay, must coordinate their strategies, because if each player pursues his or her greatest potential payoffs, okay, the shared outcome is unproductive. So game therefore illustrates the potential for cooperation to produce mutually beneficial outcomes. This type of game where the payoffs benefit all the contending parties is called variable sum games. Variable sum game. What have I said? I have said that when there is a game and at the end of the day, after the players must have played and eventually they decided that the payoff should be shared equally, that everybody should benefit from the payoff, then such kind of game is called variable sum game. In the Tinubu administration in Nigeria, in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, for example, he is actually intentional. He's very intentional about the formation of his government, and he's thinking of actually bringing or forming a government of national unity, where people from other political parties, particularly the frontline political parties like the APC, the PDP, and some more APGA, and some other political parties, actually where they played a key role in the general election. If he decides to actually, constitute a government of national unity, you know, sharing the positions across all party lines, then such kind of game is called variable sum game. But in a situation where one player's winnings equal the other player's losses, okay, such a game is called zero sum game. If there is even one strategy set for which the sum differs from zero, then the game is not zero sum game. Okay, it is the zero sum game is a process in which the winner takes all. The winner takes all. In 2015 and 2019, for example, when Buhari won, when General Muhammadu Buhari won the election, he came up and formed a government that is just made up of people from his own political party. What he has done is actually a zero-sum game. The winner takes all. The winner takes all. So now, what is the critique of this theory? The first criticism is the fact that it is not every situation, real life situation, that you can actually reduce to just game that is being played between two people, okay, or two parties. That is number one. Life is too serious to actually, reduce it to just common game. That is number one. Number two, the international system as well as the political system is too complex. Okay, it's too complex to just reduce it to game, because at the end of the day, we are talking about real life situation, okay, where the destiny of millions and billions of people are actually at stake. So for you to reduce it to just a game is too simplistic. Okay. Then number three, in every political system, there are some people that actually have an edge over others already. For example, when we actually talk about the ruling party in a political system, they already have an edge over the other political parties that are not in government. For example, in Nigeria, for example, you find out that the president is the one that appoints the INEC chairman. The president is the one that actually appoints, okay, all the principal officers, of Independent National Electoral Commission, as well as the Chief Justice of the Federation. So at the end of the day, the machineries of government is actually in his hands. So to that extent, you cannot call electoral context, okay, where the sitting government is actually a player, as an equal, as a level playing field. Because at the end of the day, there's already an edge. If you extrapolate it to the international system, the superpowers already have an edge over the third world countries. So to that extent, you cannot actually, zero down all international issues or political issues to just a game. Okay. So what is the application of this theory to the international system? Okay, the application of this theory to the international system is that, I'm going to use two scenarios. The first scenario is the Cold War. The Cold War. Now, the Cold War was characterized by arms race. Both the Western Bloc and the Eastern Bloc were locked in building of weapons of mass destruction, nuclear weapon, chemical weapon, and all of that. Okay, so that is number one. Number two, there were alliances and counter alliances on both sides. There were, they were doing alliances and counter alliances. Number three, there were proxy wars. They were locked in proxy wars. Then number four, okay, there was ideological battle. Ideological battle. Number five, there were economic policies. So all of these things were actually, on during the Cold War. I told you already that there was the development of armament, development of armament, okay, and all of that. Now, during the Cold War, okay, the U.S.-Soviet relations, you know, you know, the U.S.-Soviet relation, which was actually a very good example of the zero of the game theory. For a long time, the two countries or superpowers did not trust each other at all. Each armed itself to the fearing that the other was doing so, and not wanting to be vulnerable. Okay, eventually the game turned to be zero-sum game because the US was able to outsmart the Soviet, which made the US to successfully break the balance of power to clinch the position of a hegemon. What does that mean? It means that the US was able to actually outsmart, okay, the Soviet Union. Okay, so those are the things. Now, another scenario I can use to analyze the game theory is the Nigeria-Cameroon dispute over Bakassi Peninsula. Okay, so in this game between these two countries, the players are these two countries. The strategy is, the ICJ, okay, that Cameroon quickly approached. The rules is the international law. The payoff is the peninsula, and the outcome is the ICJ judgment. Okay, at the end of the day, it was actually a zero-sum game in favor of Cameroon that won the case, at the ICJ, and eventually they took over the peninsula, while Nigeria actually got nothing. So it is actually a zero-sum game. Okay, so those are the things. So if you're talking about the game theory, it is actually a theory that talks about the decision that countries actually make in the international system, based on their national interest. I've given example of the Cold War. I've also given example of the Nigeria Cameroon dispute. Thank you very much.